And welcome back to my ranking of all the movies I watched in 2020. If you're new around here, I'm the Jersey Connoisseur. Let's get into this. So last time around, I ranked my worst 5 movies of the year, and in total, before I begin, in total I watched 126 movies this year, which averages out to almost 2 movies a day, which is insane when I think about it. Now, before I begin, I'm going to categorize the next 5 movies all together because they are very similar in that they were originally marketed for kids, and they're not these high forms of cinema. I mean, it's obvious that they're professionally made, but they don't offer a lot of insight into the world. Now, in contrast, a movie that was also intended for kids, and of which I covered last time, Food Fight, is completely undeserving of this category because of the fact that it's so inherently bad that I don't think even kids, would enjoy that movie compared to the movies I have in the 4 movies I have right here, which are intended for kids, and I'm sure that they would have a good time watching. And specifically, the first movie right here, Christmas Chronicles Part Two. Obviously not the target audience, and I didn't have a tremendous time watching it, but it's fun enough, and obviously it has a good heart at the end of the day. And same thing goes with 16 Wishes, Minutemen, and the Princess Protection Program, which I am not ashamed to have watched this year. Um, and obviously, as Disney Channel original movies go, they're, in my opinion, the top tier, as cheesy as they are. But you have to take it for what it is, and they're good forms of entertainment, and nothing less, nothing more. Next movie I have on my list is could be controversial, as this movie received universal acclaim. It is Joker. Now, to be fair, it's been almost a year since I watched this movie, so I kind of forget most of most of what happened, but I still have the same opinion about it. I understand they were trying to go for a specific message in Joker with mental illness, and I 100% agree that is an important theme of the movie. And there's no, like, Joaquin Phoenix was absolutely deserving of the best actor, but I felt like with Hollywood sometimes they try to like act like they know everything about mental themes such as mental illness, but they don't. Not they don't know they don't go they just go into the basic terms of it, and I feel like that was what this movie did. Furthermore, it seemed very, and I know it gained inspiration from the likes of Taxi Driver and the King of Comedy, but it almost felt like it ripped off in some ways, and I feel like the story was better done in those movies compared to this one. And I think that if the character was not associated with the Joker, it obviously would not have done as well at the box office or at the Academy Awards. I think people would just resonate with the Joker, which I can't. I can't resonate with that because I cannot resonate with a psychotic character. And at the end of the day, it's just not my cup of tea. But I can respect it for what it is. I think it's a well crafted movie, but I just really I found it boring, and I maybe I should watch one day again, and maybe I'll appreciate it more. But for now, I just wasn't a fan of it. So next, I have another TV movie type that I watched off of that originated off of HBO called Unpregnant. Now again, I'm not the target audience for this, and it obviously, like with mental illness, it stems on an important message in our society and regarding abortion. But I thought, again, like with Due Date, it's like your prototypical road trip movie, and you have the one person trying to get something, and then the annoying sidekick, which is stemmed from the likes of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, etc. And it's an annoying shtick. I'm kind of surprised that Hollywood still has these type of road trip movies. And don't get me wrong, like there are some road trip movies I like, and which is one of which is very high on my list. But this movie is not a good example of that. Characters are unlikable, and they're almost exaggerated. Like I remember there was like this one scene where like they encountered this really religious couple who were obviously against abortion, and it was almost hysterical how uh, weird they were. They made them, and it was kind of unnecessary. And then, I mean, they had Giancarlo Esposito in the movie, only for a short minute. Um, I wish he was in longer. He's probably the best actor in that movie. It's just kind of a forgettable movie, and no, I mean, and thankfully it was only 90 minutes. Next movie is Bad Santa 2. So I watched this as I was in the mood for a Christmas movie, and a great cast, even better than the first one. I mean, you had two Academy Award winning actors in Kathy Bates and Billy Bob Thornton, and honestly, it's very difficult to replicate the original one because the original one is just so raw and takes no punches. Like it something about it. It's just quirky. This movie though is kind of your prototypical Hollywood comedy. I had to say, and that they use there's a lot of swearing in the movie, and it is funny. Like don't get me wrong, but it's kind of old. It gets old after a while. I mean, at the end of the day, I do like the dynamic between Kathy Bates, like the mother and son. It's weird, but it's kind of cute in a way. But it doesn't compensate for the old and tired jokes. The next one comes from Netflix. It would be Hubie Halloween. And I didn't have high expectations going into this movie. I mean, obviously, I was blown away by Adam Sandler's last performance in Uncut Gems, but is going back to his roots of uh, where he feels most comfortable in a comedy setting. And I I don't really have any big faults with this movie. I just thought it was it was fine, and uh, it was funny in some moments, kind of weird in others. But it's harmless in some ways. I just don't think it's the best movie I watched this year. Next one also comes from Netflix and was a pretty popular release when it came out in the summer. Project Power. So the premise of this movie is interesting in that there's obviously this superhuman drug that's available that gives you powers for 5 seconds or something like that, and it's it's an interesting premise, but I don't. The movie doesn't utilize the potential that to how the characters can use their powers to improve their lives. They usually just use it for selfish reasons and such. And you know, we look at like there's a great cast again: Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and like Joseph Gordon-Levitt in particular uses these this drug to uh, fight back against the criminals who have infiltrated the system and are have this drug on open market to anyone. And then Jamie Foxx is trying to find his daughter. It's interesting to say the least, yeah, but it's not anything groundbreaking. Like it's just a Netflix movie. I feel like Netflix movies are almost exactly the same. They try to be as inoffensive as possible while also being entertaining, and I appreciate that. And it does feel close to home with the father-daughter relationship. That is good to see. But again, like with Hubie Halloween, it was fine, but it wasn't anything spectacular. Next movie was actually the first movie I watched in 2020. It is Step Brothers, another comedy from Will Ferrell, and which I mentioned last time I got as part of a trilogy. But I'm biased because the fact that it was the first movie I watched that it was forgettable, to say the least. It was funny, don't get me wrong, and like with Project Power, it dealt with family. But there were some funny moments, but that's about it. I mean, I mean, compared to Holmes and Watson, it's like Citizen Kane. Like it's night and day, and I watch it again, but it is what it is. These kind of comedies are like good and good for popcorn mention, and just nothing more. And last but not least, for this edition of the list is a sports movie, which I am very fond of sports movies. Uncle Drew. So obviously the history behind this, the persona of Uncle Drew, comes from a Pepsi commercial a few years ago where NBA player Kyrie Irving dressed up as an old man and pretended to not know how to play basketball, and then subsequently destroyed everyone on the court with his handles. I mean, I gotta admit, he has very good handles. And they took the concept somehow made it into a movie. I guess not the first time, I can think of a character like Ted Lasso, who was spoofed on NBC and was given his own skit and then turned it into a TV show, and completely broke new barriers into what the characters are capable of. This is kind of the opposite. They had limited material to work with for this movie, and they were able to not only get A-tier cast. I mean, with the likes of Lil Rel Howery from Get Out, and some other fellow NBA alumni such as Shaquille O'Neal and Reggie Miller and Chris Webber. It was endearing, and which is nice. It had an arc, uh, which is good, and it is a typical sports movie where they ended up getting to the finals of the Street Classic, and they won. And and nothing more. I mean, it's just a good, like with Step Brothers, it's a good casual movie going experience. Obviously, I didn't watch it in the theater. Yeah, it was a good movie. So anyway, that's my top 10 for today. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe if you would like more. And arrivederci.